Everyone wants to move to Italy, but after 20 years here, I can tell you it's not all wine and sunsets. But the good news is it's now easier than ever to make the leap, so stick with me. Italy is great. The slow life, the food, the culture, but there are plenty of differences from your home country that could cause headaches. The bureaucracy, the cost, the cultural differences. So what are some things that people get wrong about life in Italy, and what should you consider? The realities of everyday life. I like to think I was well armed when I hit the ground here in 2004. I had already taken language classes at the university. When I got here, I started wearing scarves, I started drinking spritz, but the reality is I was still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I did buy a small car, a Volkswagen Lupo, and that's a tiny little car. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it. Let me know if you have. It's smaller than a Golf, smaller than a Polo, tiny little four-seater hatchback. I no longer own a car, and I no longer wear scarves. So what are the realities of everyday life in Italy? What's amazing, it's the slower pace of life. Instead of driving around everywhere, people are walking from points A to B, more time for interactions. And it's that community. Yeah, if you're walking around the center of a town, you'll come across many different piazzas. And in those piazzas, you can be almost guaranteed you'll see a group of 2 to 3 to 4 people just standing there talking, passing time for 10 to 30 minutes. It's that espresso cafe ritual coffee bar vibe that you see on every street, on every corner. People inside the bar sipping the coffee, talking to the barista or to another patron there at the bar for 5 or 10 minutes instead of taking their coffee on the go, drinking it in their car in their little isolated space. It's the cultural diversity of Italy, from up north in the Dolomites, the beautiful mountains, to down south and the splendid food-rich island of Sicily. And going back to patrons there at the bar standing next to you and chatting them up, I should mention that I do have a Patreon now if you want to join the community and get exclusive content. And in addition to that exclusive content, you're supporting me growing the channel. But what are some things that are misunderstood by the dreamy-eyed wannabe expats? Well, for starters, the bureaucracy, the big B word. Oh, it's nasty here in Italy. I'll tell you that. Picture the 1980s in terms of technology and efficiency. Old office buildings with drab furniture inside and a bunch of grumpy-looking individuals standing in line for paperwork after paperwork. It's miserable, and you'll become very familiar with the word questura. And you're asking, well, what is questura? Well, that's a special Italian police headquarters that primarily occupies itself with immigrants and paperwork and what you need to do, get done so you can get your residency permit and stay here and enjoy the dolce vita. I can tell you back in the day, I spent many hours down there at the local questura office, standing in line with my paperwork, all the financial information, health information, everything I needed to be able to stay here in Italy. Picture Ellis Island, but instead of the promise of a new land, it's the hopes of getting your residency permit renewed. Italians are always late. Well, not when it comes to business, the local Italians will tell you. Or the tourists and expats here will say, oh, well, it's charming. I'll leave it up to you to decide for yourself when you're here on the ground. The cost of living, unfortunately, like everywhere else in the world, and maybe in your country, like the United States, things are going up. The cost of living is more and more expensive, especially in those tourist popular areas like Rome and Florence, where the cost of rent is going high because, well, we have Airbnbs and we have so many people that want to come here and visit. And I don't blame you. I love this place. I'm here in Florence now. We're in the Boboli Gardens. There's a little bit of tractors and stuff driving around doing some work and some construction. That's why we're hearing those sounds. The cost of rent is going up, especially in those popular cities, and you may find that your Italian dream might be a little bit more costly than you expected, and some services may be more than what you pay at home. Take, for instance, internet. I always found it to be quite expensive here in Italy, especially for the speed you're getting. Although now I do have fiber at home, and I can tell you the internet is flying along, and I'm uploading those videos quickly now. If you have to pay Italian taxes here, well, it's not going to be pretty. Brace yourself. Those beautiful hospitals and roads, well, they don't fund themselves, but after paying the Italian taxes, you probably would hope that they did. And you may find it difficult to integrate into the little social circles here in Italy and live your life. Even though I spoke Italian from day one and I kept improving and improving, I always felt maybe I was a bit of an outsider. Let me know if you've had the same issue, if you've been living abroad. I would make friends and I would be a part of certain social circles, and we'd hang out and they'd invite me to a weekend away up in the mountains or to a cabin there on the lake. But I always felt like I was just a bit of an outsider, like I was special and unique, their special friend. And of course that's going to be the case, because you're never going to be as close to the Italians as they are to their other Italian friends. Those friends that they grew up with, went to school with, they're just going to have a closer bond with those friends. And if you think you're going to come here to Italy, look at this beautiful, massive fountain. And I can tell you, right over that way, over the wall there, I'm lucky enough to call that my home. Not in the park, but in the house over there. If you think you're gonna come here and not need to speak Italian, well, buona fortuna. That means good luck, by the way. You can also say in bocca al lupo, which means in the wolf's mouth. And if someone says that to you for good luck, you need to say crepi al lupo. I think that's long live the wolf, or may the wolf die. But anyway, you need to know Italian if you come here. So do your homework, because if you can't even hold a small conversation or speak Italian over the telephone, life is going to be difficult. And don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. I just want you to know some hard truths as we talk about plates of pasta and picturesque piazzas. So how have my perspectives on time, work, and priorities changed? Well, for the better. Whether I like it or not, I've learned how to slow down, to take a deep breath, and to enjoy life. Yeah, sometimes it can be annoying if you go down and you need to get something from the shop and you find it's closed for a long lunch, or they're not open on Mondays or Sundays. That was the case with this camera. I needed it serviced the other day, and I was writing in WhatsApp complaining to my friend David, the dang shop's not open on Sunday, it's not open on Monday either, and I'm sure they're taking a long lunch on Tuesday, so I have to plan my trip accordingly. But you learn to kind of go with the punches and ease into life as it is here in Italy, and everything kind of slows down and you relax a little bit, and you may find yourself even enjoying life that little bit more and taking the time to appreciate a little bit of time off on Sundays instead of worrying about getting things done, hanging out with your friends. Or you may start to appreciate those long Italian lunches and being able to switch off after work and going down to the cafe and enjoying a drink with your friends. The importance of family in Italy versus other more individualistic countries. In Italy, family is everything, and over the years, in various relationships with girls that I've been in, I've been able to get close and be a part of an Italian family, and that meant going on vacation with them and everyone being together down in Sicily. Yes, the Italians, when they go on vacation, they go on vacation together as a unit, or spending those long Sunday lunches together. As much as I kind of didn't want to do that at first, and I wanted to spend time doing my things and taking care of business, well, I began to appreciate them and enjoy that time. In Italy, family, well, it means a lot. And in fact, you'll see the children, they don't move far away when they finally do move out of the house like you'd have in the US, when they're just rushing to get out of the house at the age of 18 and moving miles away on the East Coast if they come from the West, or vice versa. In Italy, people stay close together as a family unit, adjusting to Italian directness and those unspoken rules, dress etiquette, and the time that you can go to eat, have lunch and dinner. Everything's kind of fixed here in Italy, whether you like it or not. Let me tell you a little story about when Gregor Brown first came to Italy, and he was working for this Italian company, and he might have upset, well, he did upset a few people. It was a Christmas party. I think it was on the 23rd of December, and I just wanted to go home, and the dang thing was going on, and I thought to myself, well, I'll just sneak out the back door. I don't want to have to say goodbye to everybody, Merry Christmas to everybody, and I just wanted to get out of there without making a big fuss of it, because I knew one thing, how it is when you say goodbye in Italy, and I'll explain that here in a minute. Well, I did sneak out the back door, and I went home. I was able to enjoy the Christmas days a little bit sooner had I stayed at that Christmas party. But I can tell you, the next work day, when I was there in the office, I could overhear the gossip and I could see the stares. It wasn't a thing that I should have done. But lesson learned, I think I'd still do it again, to be honest. In Italy, what I want to tell you about, anytime you want to leave a function or a dinner or get together, it's a lot more difficult. You gotta stand up and say goodbye to everybody, which is nice, but that usually means timing it with everyone else and when they want to depart. So you have to wait for everyone else to get ready to go, stand up and leave. Everybody says goodbye to one another, does the kisses on the cheeks, and that may be a little bit weird to you, especially if you're a man, that first time that ever happens, having some other guy's beard rub up against your cheek. It's just done differently here. And well, let's not get into the scarf rules, because if an Italian mother or grandmother catches you out without a scarf on a cold day, they're gonna yell at you saying, you're gonna catch a cold because you're not covering up your neck. I don't know the science and the specifics on that. You tell me how I'd catch a cold not covering up my neck with a scarf, but that's just the way it's done here. Life has changed so much over the last 20 years, and quite slower here in Italy, but that's part of the charm, and I love it. You're gonna love if you come here to Italy and make it your home. Just be prepared, and remember, moving abroad is not about finding the perfect place, but it's about finding that new version of yourself, letting yourself blossom, letting yourself discover something new inside yourself. I wouldn't have become the man I am today had I not stepped foot in Italy, had I not done those hard years, those first years of living abroad. And I tell you, I'm very happy I made that first step. Do you remember at the start of the video when I said I have some good news for you, and that it's easier than ever to come here and live in Italy? Yes, despite the bureaucracy, things are quick here. Well, quicker, I should say. Life still moves slow, but you can do more things online. You can find online help groups that didn't exist 20 years ago. And now we have YouTube. Yeah, YouTube videos like this. Please like this video if you're finding it helpful. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed, thank you. Please do so. You won't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. Also, there are even new visas available that weren't available back in the day, like the digital nomad remote workers visa. So all these new things are available to you to make it even easier to come to Italy. If you do want to do so, I do recommend, if you have the money, to hire an agent to help you out with all the paperwork. There is still a lot of paperwork that you'll need to go through, so that'll make your life easier. I remember back in the day, I'll share this story with you. It's crazy because it involves a payphone. Yeah, we used to use payphones. Hello? I remember when I first came here to Italy, I didn't have internet at home, and I didn't have a smartphone. I maybe had a Nokia, so I had to get a calling card. I went to the tobacco shop. You got like a discounted card that let you call abroad at less cost, and you'd punch in like a 10-digit number in addition to the telephone number, and I made the phone call. Well, things have changed a lot over the years, and now I can simply use FaceTime if I want to get roasted by my sister over a phone call. I think that was the last time I had ever used a payphone. Anyway, let me know if you remember the last time you used a payphone. Office work now, well, it's not always done in the office, and that's one of the benefits to living in these years that we're in, because you can work remotely. A lot of companies will let you do that, especially post 2020. So consider, if you can do that, work remotely. Instead of giving up your job, come here, work from Italy, do the same job that you have from back home, but you're doing it based in Italy. Another option to explore a new country before you decide to make it your home, well, consider a workcation. So you don't give up your home back in, say, the United States. You come here, you stay for 2 to 3 months in an Airbnb. Yeah, it's going to cost you a bit more money than it would to move here. But in an Airbnb, you can start to experience the area and get a feeling for what it's all about without yet calling it your home. Now, I always want to warn people, when you do that, living in a place 2 to 3 months, it's not the same as having it as your home, as changing residences, becoming a true expat. It's not the same, and it never will be. And I don't think you even know what it's truly like until after that first year honeymoon period ends. If you do want to explore Italy, well, there's good news, because I have the Italy Insider PDF guide that you can download, have on your phone, offline, in your pocket for when you're traveling around this beautiful country. It has all sorts of things in there, like how to get to and from Italy, how to get around Italy once you're here, some common phrases, things you need to know about the dining times. It's all ram-jammed in there. Would you move to Italy? Have you been here, experienced the pleasures and the pains of living in Italy or traveling through Italy? Let me know down in the comments, what's your favorite thing about Italy, or why would you consider moving to Italy and making it your home? There are a lot of pros and cons about moving and living abroad, and I want you to be ready for that when the time comes, which is why I made this video here. Check it out next. Let's get out of here. If you do get a chance, explore this park. See you later.